前の本性を、今まで殺してきた本当の自分を。
くたばれクソ女神。もし生きて戻ったら覚悟しておけ。
Failure frame, I became the strongest and annihilated everything with low-level spells. Is it any good? Well, I just got done watching episode 1, and let me say this. This gave me some really, really strong Ari Ferretta vibes. Ari Ferretta is... You can say whatever you want about Ari Ferretta, but it's one of my favorite shows. I freaking love Ari Ferretta. Is it mid and whatever else? Sure. It's still one of my favorites, and I absolutely adore that show. I've seen the show multiple times. I've covered it here on the channel. I've watched the OVAs. Like, it's awesome. This episode 1, and going into this because it gave me Ari Ferretta vibes, I was very excited to watch this. This episode 1 was probably one of the worst episode 1s I have ever seen. Like, easy top 10 worst episode 1s. And you might be like, goddamn, top 10? I watch 10 to 15 shows on the channel a season. And then I probably watch another 5 outside, you know, just on my own time kind of thing. So I'm watching 10 to 20 anime a season, you know, and I have been traditionally doing this channel now for 4 years. So, you know, you do that math. I watch hundreds of anime, and I've been watching anime since literally, I think, like, I don't know, like almost 30 years, okay? So I've seen like a tremendous amount of episode 1s. So 10, you know, it's pretty bad. First off, you know, one of the things I always say when it comes to anime, if it's your first time here, you know, I'm Dom. I give a lot of really strong opinions on the channel. Some that you are going to agree with, you're like, oh yeah, and some that you're going to be like, I hate this guy, and everything in between. But what I always say is, you know, when a show can draw out a strong emotion from you, it's doing something right. And that emotion may very well be hating the character, hating multiple characters. It may be loving characters. It might be, you know, fan service that gets you all hot and steamy. It might be something really sad or heartbreaking. It might be something really happy and, you know, bubbly. And, you know, it might be something really funny and comedic. But if it draws out some kind of emotion in you, for the most part, not always, but for the most part, it's doing something right. But with this show, right, it started off with our character Toka, or Memori, whatever you want to call him. And basically, he's being subjected to child abuse. And at first, you're like, oh, he's being reprimanded for something. But no, his dad or stepdad or whatever, and his mom, they're drunks, apparently. And they just didn't like the way that their son looked. So they, you know, to the point of evil laughter, were like really abusing this kid. So first off, that's a big, strong subject that's going to start off an episode resonating with people. Well, either not resonating at all because it's fiction and it's anime and, you know, it's animated, it's not real. But for another subset of people, it could really resonate with them in a really negative way. So that's already kind of a rough start for an episode 1, right? Because a lot of people are just immediate based on just that subject matter. And if anybody has any type of negative emotions towards that, they're out, okay? So that's the first part. Second is we then time skip. You know, this is just a memory. We time skip, and we now see Toka as a teenager on a bus. Basically, he's just like this class loser, okay? And we get presented with this really animated, sharp-toothed, loud-ass shit kid, I guess, trying to hit on this other girl through bullying, I guess. Just a really annoying scene. And that's my emotion there. I was like, I just kind of scoffed. I was like, ugh. Like, it was just so annoying and so unrealistic that I was like, okay. But I mean, I guess maybe somebody out there like this exists. And then we get presented with some other kid, you know, this Toka dude, he stands up to him. They call him like, I don't know, Thinny McThins or something like that. And this other kid, this other popular guy comes in. He's like, yo, Snaggletooth, bro, you know, sit the F down. And he does, you know, he gets all boo-hooey and stuff. You know, so it introduces a lot of different kids who seem all fucked up, honestly. Like, they just all seem a little effed up in the brain. So immediately right then and there, I'm like, okay, that's a bad taste. Like, it's one of the things to where, like, it's fiction. You know, at the end of the day, it's not real. This is just somebody's story that they conjured up in their room or, you know, at the park or something, or in their car. You know, so I understand. But, like, they're so far from normal, it's kind of wild. And like all these kids are like so far from normal. Sure, you know, in every, you know, class, every group of 30 children, you're gonna have some, you know, wonky, annoying ass, you know, kids who, you know, some that are, you know, the bully ones, some that are but it's not like 80% of them. It seems like 80% of these kids are jacked the F up in the head. So that's already like, I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. So then they get summoned. And then we have this, like, it raises a whole bunch of other questions. So this goddess, you know, a goddess apparently, summons these kids to fight the Demon Lord, because of course, right? But she seems to be more powerful than an S rank. And S rank seems to be the highest, you know, ability that these kids can get or that exist. So it's like, well, why summon these kids? Just go fight, be a goddess. Go do godly shit and go fight this demon lord that's so bad. But she seems totally evil. So she bestows a bunch of powers on kids, or essentially they measure them through a device, and they show them how to look at their skills, because when they get summoned, they get innate skills. It goes through all the kids, and you know, most of the jacked up ones are the most powerful ones for whatever reason. And then the Toka dude, he's an E rank, and long story short, she basically says, like, you know, E ranks are trash. We gotta throw the trash out. And all the kids in the class, even the dude who also got bullied, they just flip a switch all of a sudden. They don't really question anything. They just kind of go with the flow. They don't get mad that the goddess totally bullshitted them. She's like, oh, the only way we can send you back is by getting the Demon King's aura and you know, his gem, and using that to send you, like, just total, like, they're just totally getting played. Like, anybody with 2 brain cells can understand that she's bullshitting them. That she's just using the Demon Lord as, like, the device to, and then she'd be like, oh, the summoning can happen or whatever. And then no one's questioning, like, well, why can't you just go do it? You know what I mean? So it's tons of holes in the plot just to, you know, kind of push the 𝐒𝐻𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐿, you know, revenge story. So just tons of stuff there. And then everybody flips on him except for, like, the one girl who was getting bullied in the bus, and the goddess just knocks her the F out. And then Toka tries to use his powers on the goddess. That fails. She has, like, you know, an impenetrable, I don't know, magic or some shit. And they, you know, he F's off, and they, you know, they send him away, and then suddenly he, you know, a switch flips. He's like, I want to get back at you. F you, goddess, you know? And I'm like, okay, that's bad too. Like, it's just bad. And then he gets into the dungeon, and he starts fighting stuff and using his powers, and, you know, then it just ends with him versus a Minotaur. So really bad ending as well to the episode. And then it shows us a preview for next episode where maybe he meets, like, a mermaid or an elf, one of the two, I don't know, in the dungeon. Because you have to remember, this dungeon he was sent to is for, like, robbers and murderers and bad people, you know, in the eyes of the guys, even though she's a POS, right? So that's how his revenge story starts, is by you got to be the real you, Toka. Don't let them get to you. He's like, and I'm like, okay, that's really bad. And on top of everything else, there's bad 3D animation. The animation itself is pretty bad. It kind of reminds me of 𝐒𝐻𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐿, if you know what I mean. It's like that kind of animation, very glossy animation, so not very good. But I can look past that, like, the animation and 3D stuff, if, like, the content is good. As I've done before for, like, you know, spider anime and stuff like that. But the content seems, I don't know, man. Anyways, this is like a 5 out of 10 for me. This was a bad episode 1. And I understand that maybe you feel differently. And if that's the case, let me know in the comments. Be passionate about it. Be like, yo, Dom, you tripping. This was the best shit ever. And that's cool. I don't know if I'll be back for episode 2, to be honest. I was so hyped for this, and it maybe my expectations were too high. And they weren't even high. They were Ari Ferretta, level. Like, just come out and be that. And it was bad. So I don't know if I'll be back for episode 1. I guess if this video pops up, pops off, I'll be back for episode 2. If this video doesn't, then yeah, you probably won't see me talk about this show ever again. All right. Stay classy. Happy July 4th. Peace out.